Joe and Ed's marbleizing project comes to life with a bit of sanding and buffing. Next, as Furniture on the Mend continues on TLC.
What are you doing down there?
Look, you can see my reflection. It's time for the final rub out now. Can you believe it?
You're gonna rub it out?
I'm gonna rub it out, yes.
Get up here and rub it out.
This is the final rub out. When you last saw it, we wet sanded with some 320 paper using the soap and water solution. Then I recoated with the high gloss furniture varnish, wet sanded again with a higher grit, went to 400 grit, and applied a third coat. So now we're ready for the rub out. But we're not using any sandpaper because...
No, not even like 9,000 grit?
No, because any sandpaper is going to be too abrasive for this final high gloss finish. So
what we're going to do is we're actually going to go down the line, progressing through the progress of less abrasive abrasives.
Certainement. And what we're going to use first, I'm going to rub with some steel wool.
What O?
4O.
4O.
4O. Always used in finishing, 4O. You would never use 1O because you'd peel up all the finish. So we're going to use 4O. Then we're going to go to 4F pumice in the nice oregano bottle.
4F. It couldn't get in the Army.
Right. And then rotten stone.
What is rotten stone?
It's the finest abrasive from volcanic ash. And to use these, I'm going to lubricate them with the soap and water solution using a felt block, and over which I'm going to hold a piece of cow or black leather.
Leather. Leather on felt.
Do the pumice first, wipe all traces of the pumice off. Then with clear water, plain water, I'm going to use the rotten stone. Wipe all traces of the rotten stone off, do a polishing compound for our automobile, and then I'm going to use a wax for an automobile, and then a final buffing compound. Seems like a lot of steps, but it's not. It's really...
Let's take them through it.
As long as you're not doing a big Cadillac.
No, well, you would never do a Cadillac made like marble, although some
This is
people...
true. Some people would like that.
Begin with the most abrasive thing that we have on this.
The steel wool, and this is going to dull the surface. I want to go, you see it?
See, it's getting duller already. You can't see yourself now.
Now, if you want a dulled marble effect...
Which some people might like. You're going for a brightly colored, like an Aggie.
You can just go with this flat look. This is the soap and water solution. Spray that on.
Now, remember how we made this? We just put hunks of soap in there with water?
Right. Those little bars of soap that
you steal from the
get all mushy.
Hotel.
Now we take the pumice and sprinkle, like over a board when you're making bread. And the felt block wrapped with a piece of leather. I'm going to rub with the grain.
So rub thy pumice on thy shelf.
Rub thy pumice very hard.
Oh, man, look at that. It looks like a bunch of pencils. Well, it just came to points. I go off now and then.
Now I'm going to clean off the pumice.
You can see the grain a little better, but it is dull. The more you wipe, the less dull it becomes.
And now we're ready for the rotten stone. Yeah, you can move that away and that.
I'm just a helper here.
Now we put the water on.
Clean off the rest of the pumice.
Pumice. And this is rotten stone.
That's gray.
Gray powder. And now another block with a piece of leather.
Good use for leather. For all that extra leather you might have lying around the house.
Look, you'd also make a roll just out of a piece of leather, just roll it up. That works.
You know, people get lots of wallets for their birthdays, confirmation, bar mitzvahs. They only need one wallet. The rest they can use to rub out marbleized.
Can you watch here?
Okay. You know, I have a friend, he's still using his bar mitzvah wallets. He got 37 of them. He's 37 now.
Move that away.
I'll move that away. Now wiping off the rotten stone.
Traces of the rotten stone.
And it's getting more depth still.
Now this is a car compound, polishing compound.
I once had a compound car, but this is the stuff you actually rub onto a car to give it a shine.
This I'm going to apply with a Piece of linen, actually. You could use cheesecloth.
But remove the cheese.
Remove the cheese.
And this is even less abrasive because what this is the cream base with some abrasive material suspended in it, whereas we just went from an actual powdered abrasive.
Paper towels, please. Monsieur.
And water.
I'm going to apply this car polish now.
This is even creamier.
And a cute little sponge.
It's nice. It's red. Cost them nothing.
Now, as with any car wax like this,
You gotta
go in swirls. Once it's applied, you let it dry. So this has got to dry to a haze. And we'll be back to buff it out.
Did you get the sides?
Yeah. The sides are gotten. Now, can I have that final buffing stuff?
That's extremely non-abrasive.
And called extra fine.
Yeah, this comes in a few different...
I should shake it up first. Get those little particulates moving.
This comes in a few different grades. Fine, really fine, and unbelievably fine. This is the very, very unbelievably fine. So you can hardly see that go on.
In cycles.
I'm going to fill the hole with the wax stick that most matches the surrounding wood. I've picked this color out of my...
Light assortment.
Light assortment.
A light assortment.
And I'm just rubbing it over...
We just assembled this with some glue.
Top of the nail hole.
Remember the tape that we had applied on the shelves? We took the tape off. We still had the wood there. Clamped it up. Put some new nails in the back, and now...
I'm filling the nail holes. And you want to know something? I'm not even going to harden it with that hardener that I use a lot of times.
You don't have to, because this is going to be against the wall anyway.
Exactly. I'm just going to make it cosmetically nice. Going to fill all the nail holes. And now let's turn it around.
For the full and dazzling effect. The wonderful world of marbleizing. Oh,
man.
I can't believe it. It's startling. Look at this.
Depth, brightness, it's got something for everybody. Remember, you too can marbleize. Just take your time, experiment.
Yeah, start with something small or start with just scrap pieces of wood. Wood with not a lot of grain. Put a primer on, lay down your marbleizing and experiment. Or get little samples of real marble and study them. Go to a library.
Exactly. Have fun with it. That's what he did. That's what we did.
Furniture on the Mend will return on TLC. Furniture on the Mend now returns on TLC.
Last time we did our inside back. Today we're going to be doing our outside back. But before we attach the panels, we've got to put on a few pieces of trim and padding.
Look, this is Marlon Brando's last robe belt.
Will you give that to me?
This is welting.
It's welting or cording, and we had this made for us. Now, it's possible for you to make this yourself on a sewing machine. What it is just a strip of fabric wrapped around an actual cord. It could be cardboard. This is some kind of compressed paper product. And it's looped around here, and then there's a stitch put in right up next to the actual cord.
And what that does is what?
What this does is what? Exactly. It's going to be our trim attached right to the frame, tacked into the frame, so where our outside back meets our inside back, all you'll see is this lovely cord on top. It'll hide any seam, and it'll just make a lovely finish for it.
A cord on blue, too. It's like
a cord on blue. Okay. I'm going to begin to attach it down here. Now, our outside back is going to fall straight down here.
Begin to attach.
Remember that over top of this seating end that has a row of staples is going to be some trim that we're going to attach later. So before I attach it,
knife,
I'm going to trim off this excess. Why? Because when it lays down here, I want it to be very flat right along this line, so where our trim covers it, there will be no bulge.
You're going to trim that piece of cord?
I am.
Okay, not the fabric.
Not the fabric. Okay. I'll open it up just a little bit and trim back a piece, like so. And I'm going to lay it right down like this, because I'm going to start following this curve. Remember, the fabric trim's going to end right there. So there's my first staple. Now I just move up.
You're moving up.
Moving on up. Now, this is optional. You can have just fabric meeting fabric, and if you're doing everything right, you won't have any open seams.
Then how come we're doing this?
Because we had the welting made, and I think here we are restoring some furniture that had welting on it. So since it had welting on it, we're going to continue and restore it the way it originally was. That's what restoration's all about. Just keep your finger here and make sure that this actual curve is breaking right along
Flush
the
with
top.
the top? Yeah.
You got it.
Pretty much flush with the top.
What's this stuff?
This is the Terminator's large intestine.
That you put that stuff on your lawn and tanks cannot get into your living room.
Failed DNA.
It's the molecule chain for crazy glue.
Very big magnification of like steel wool.
Steel wool, it's a roller coaster gone awry.
Roller coaster into a brook.
All right, you've got ideas on what this stuff is, you send them right in here. But what it actually is a bunch of curvies, right?
A bunch of curvies.
A bunch of long roll of curvies that have seen better days, but...
And we also got these at the upholstery supply.
Absolutely, you can buy them too, and here's what we're going to use them for. We're going to tack them into the frame right below the cording. And when our fabric is applied after padding, we're going to bang these shut, and the little tiny teeth are going to bring the fabric up and make it tight against the bottom of the cording. Sound strange?
Yeah.
It's what we use. First, I've cut a piece, and of course you can cut them.
So this is, in a way, similar to the vertical tack stripping.
Yes.
But this is...
But they're called curvies because...
They're curvy.
They curve. And we're just going to use them for the most severe curve of the outside back, from here to here, and then straight down here, because this is also curved.
Knee.
The knee?
The knee.
Okay. How am I going to apply? I'm going to apply with my electric staple gun. Your aim must be true, as Elvis says, because one prong of the staple must go through this hole. See this hole on this top piece here? And the other prong has to go in between the two flanges like so. So anybody is going to miss a few times. You just pull it out and try again.
So,
I want it.
And I will push while you push.
I want it butt up against here, and I want the top of this flange butt up against the bottom of the cord. And here I go. I'm taking careful aim.
I'm pushing.
He's pushing. Got it.
Furniture on the Mend will return on TLC.
Now here's what we're going to use, the kind of padding we're going to use for our outside arms and back.
And this is Dacron, this isn't the cotton.
Right. We're using Dacron because it comes in sheets and it's more easily molded to a curve like this. That cotton was nice.
It won't fall apart.
Exactly. It won't fall apart. And the cotton was fine because we knew we were going to be stretching and pulling and tugging fabric that was going to hold it in place. But this is going to hang a little bit more.
And we're going to have to cut a piece in there, right?
Absolutely.
Piece that's going to fit inside that opening.
Yes. We want to make sure it conforms to the curvature of this outside back. We don't want to lay it this way or this way. And we're going to trim it off later. Make sure it's high. And remember, we're going to be ending it on that vertical board there.
Proceed, Ragnar.
Yes, Einar. Where are we going to tack it? We're going to tack it right below the curvies.
Can you
Feel?
see?
Where I'm going to tack along the bottom is right on the top of the strip of the wood frame.
In the yellow pages, upholstery supply is under what? Upholstery supply?
Yeah, the U's.
The U's. Not under furniture.
Make sure that you're getting the curve here. I'm not pulling it out too tight, but I'm not letting it bag either. Keep in mind that you're going for a curve. Now I want to trim. Where I'm going to lap this is right in the middle of the board, because the next piece of Dacron, I want it to meet right in the middle of this board here. So I'm feeling where the board is. Now, here I want to talk about something for a second. When I put the fabric in, I want the fabric to be caught by these little spikes and push it in so it's pulled tight. But I also want some Dacron in there. See, so when the Dacron will be in between the spikes and the fabric, so the spikes don't really ruin the fabric.
So padding and?
Padding and fabric are all going to be caught in there. So when I cut here, I want to leave this much height of Dacron. I want to bend these in at a 45-degree angle.
Why?
Why? As well you may ask. Because that'll give me my height for the Dacron. If I cut the Dacron now, it's pushing it out too much. I won't get a correct height. Why don't you help me do that?
I'm lifting these. That's something I can do.
We've cut a generous square because, again, you do not want to go like this or go like this. We're going to apply this just like we did the padding. I'm going to put a tack right in there.
Just like that?
Just like something. What I'm doing, just like when you hem something or baste something, you want to see how it lies. And this arm is going to end right here. So right over there, I don't care how high it is past there. However, I do want it up just a little bit higher. Just pull it up a little higher, just like that. Make sure it's overlapping everywhere you want it to overlap. You've got plenty here. Good. Next, we must make a mark with our piece of chalk.
Regular white chalk.
Yes.
Donated by my son.
And we're just generally mimicking the top of this. We want a quarter to a half an inch above this metal curvy, because that's what's going to be stuffed down in there and trapped. We can actually pull this and have, I'm feeling underneath, because you don't want to have any more fabric in this trapped behind the curvy than necessary. I hope your hand isn't back there. Now this time when I trim down, I'm going to put some tacks at the bottom. Not into that lovely distressed surface, but into that groove.
Where the trim's going to go.
Where the trim's going to go. And let's see how my curve is coming. Oh, yes. It's going to come nicely.
I can't believe this piece of fabric's going to look tailor-made on that.
Oh, it will. It will.
I know it will, but...
Okay. And just like we did on the inside, back, we're going to have to stretch and pull just a bit. Okay. Now it's time to start trimming down more. We want to sort of shove this in there and see how much is going to be trapped behind there. It's going to go right about down to there. And lest we forget, first-timers especially, get a piece of durable fabric to recover anything so you can pull.
Something that you can...
And tug.
Really pull.
That will forgive you. Now here's where we begin with the center, as always. I'm going to be folding the curvies up to trap padding and fabric all together.
Into the jaws of the curvy.
Yes. Now what do we use to bang this down with? A hammer, of course. And when we tuck that in, we can actually feel those spikes
Biting.
biting. We can actually push them up You can tuck it with your fingers. You can use a little screwdriver, a pin, lots of stuff. I'm going to tuck it up with my fingers first, and then I'll bang it in real tight with a hammer. Now I'm going to pull the center down and put a tack here just to secure it while I work the front and the back. Here's that corner piece. We must work it by tucking it in with our straight edge.
A fold.
A fold. Working it with the needle, the screwdriver, or the tiny, tiny finger. And tucking in.
Down and back.
Down and back, making sure that the whole program is going in there. Our top is done. The front side is done. Now we have to pull the bottom tight, tack all the way along before we finish up our arm. Remember, I put this tack in there to hold tight. I'm going to pull it a little tighter this time. Remember, we're always watching the curvature.
And whoa!
And onto the front.
I'm gonna have to staple me to the platform, I think.
And now I finish off by nailing vertically up this now hidden board. Feel for the board and put one there. Now I'll go down. I'm going to go to the outer edge of this board, so when the back overlaps, it won't run into any staples. Here's our curve. It's beautiful. It's tight up at the top. It's got a slight inward slant, and then comes out, just what I wanted, and it's really tight this way.
Feels nice.
You like it?
I like it.